Welcome back to Mariners Down Under. It is your weekly and positive-only look at the Seattle Mariners organisation, just with an Australian twist. Now, it's been a big week for the boys, and it's been a big week for the podcast as well. We're going to fill you in on all the details up next, and of course, our interview with yet another member of the 2025 MLB draft class. It's a big episode, so let's not waste any time. Let's get stuck in. Nine wins in a row. I'll say it louder for the people in the back. 9 wins in a row and first place in the AL West. And now we're off to Kansas City to pretty well crush any hopes of the Royals making the wild card. They're currently 6 off the pace. They're pretty cooked. They're in shambles, and we have the opportunity to put them to bed. Now, I'm not going to lie, that ballpark, it stresses me out big time. Playing the Royals stresses me out big time. But when we are as hot as we are, we just have to keep keeping on. Now, win number 9 came courtesy today of a big outing on both sides. George Kirby went big today, striking out 14 on 101 pitches, and he became the first ever pitcher in Mariners history to have at least 2 starts in a season where he had 14 strikeouts and 0 free passes. The other, funnily enough, was also against the Angels, and that game was a little closer back on July 8th. That was a 3-2 win, not the 11-2 drubbing that we handed out today. The other big news, and possibly the biggest one that we've been waiting for, Karoly has tied Mickey Mantle's record for the most home runs switch hitter with 54. Now, I saw a quote on X today which made me kind of chuckle. Can you imagine going back to 1961 and telling the Mick that the bloke who's going to break his record is called the Big Dumper? There's 12 games left. You'd assume Cal passes this mark, and the next mark to pass, well, that's the Mariners franchise record, which is owned by Ken Griffey Jr. with 56. That's 2 away, which is just even incredible to say. So all I can recommend is you take personal leave for the next 2 weeks, you empty the bank account, and you book tickets to see all the remaining 12 games, because we are going to witness history. And Cal is also 2 ahead of Phillies star Kyle Schwarber for the home run title for the season, just in case anyone was still caring about that one as well. Now, Jorge Polanco continues to play bloody good baseball as well. He has now doubled in 7 straight games, which ties the Mariners franchise record. An interesting point to note is that Polo has unlocked himself a player option courtesy of his 450th plate appearance, and that happened about 9 days ago. That's a $6 million deal with a $750K buyout. There is no way the Mariners let him go again after they declined his option last winter. Polanco had a $12 million option declined last winter. He was hung out to dry on the open market and then eventually picked up by Seattle again for $7.75 million. He's had an outstanding year overall. Look, there's been mountainous highs, there's been a couple of low stretches, and right now he is just absolutely on fire. An extra base hit in 7 consecutive games, a double in 5 consecutive games. That's tied for a team record, which was set by Ibanez in 2004. He has 24 home runs, 72 RBIs, a .267 average on the season, .393 in the past 7. He's got hot at the right time as we've taken over first place in the AL West. What a year, what a player, what an absolute turnaround. And I mentioned before that, there's no way the Mariners let him go again. We're not going to have a choice. Like, he's a free agent at the end of the year. His player option of $6 million. I can't imagine him taking that up. Like, what are we looking at? 2 years, 25? Like, the Giants, someone's going to offer an absurd deal. I just hope that the culture that we've created within Seattle, the fact that we're winning ball games, it seems to be a ball club that loves each other, that loves playing together. Hopefully that's enough to make him stay. Hopefully everyone takes home team discounts. But I'm a realist as well. And the reality that we roll out with the exact same lineup next season is, it's probably not occurring. But all I'll say is, Jorge, loved having you as a Mariner, mate. Hopefully it continues for a long time. But you sure as hell have played yourself into a really bloody nice contract with your last little bit. Now it's time for our second positive point of the week. Post-All-Star break Julio Rodriguez has been exactly what this team has needed. You're going to remember he took that game off to reload and prepare for the run home, and hasn't he done just that? Since then, He has hit 300 with an OPS of 922. He's got 16 home runs, which ties Karoly in that time frame. He's got a team-leading 41 RBIs, a team-leading 66 hits, 10 stolen bags, and 14 doubles, and that trails only the record-equaling Jorge Polanco in that field. He is in form, and an October Julio Rodriguez is a marketing department dream. Now, our third positive point for the week. Prior to today's win, the bullpen had thrown 35 and a third innings, forget this, a 0.25 ERA in what was an 8 but is now a 9-game win streak. The next closest pen was nearly a full run behind them. They've been playing in extra inning games, they have taxed players, and these blokes just keep digging deep and just making it happen game after game after game. All 9 arms, they've contributed. They're bringing fresh guys in. They're performing. It is a complete team effort on this point. As much as I love watching baseballs leave the yard, walk off home runs, there's just something special about watching this bullpen unit ice opposition teams out completely. And I think they need their share of the credit too. The Everett AquaSox, our friends down in High A, have taken home the Northwest Championship. Now, this is their first title in more than a decade and comes after taking Game 4 of the 5-game series against the Eugene Emeralds. Now, the great part about this and the fun fact is that since 2021, our AAA, AA, High A and Single A affiliates have all won at least one league title. And yes, our top 10 in our farm system, absolutely elite. But this shows the depth and the quality that this franchise has at our disposal. We love the AquaSox. They were so good to us about a month ago, and we're thrilled for them, their front office, literally everybody involved. And of course, that extends to our friends of the podcast who are currently on the roster. There's Ryan Hawks, who delivered a quality start in the final game. There's world's nicest guy, Teddy McGraw. The OG, Brock Moore. Guy that I was just incredibly excited to talk to, and the next big thing, Ryan Sloan. And of course, our good mate behind the plate, Josh Karen as well. Well done, lads, and go Frogs. Just absolutely outstanding from the Everett AquaSox. Now, before we get into this week's interview, for those of you that haven't seen, our Instagram was permanently deleted by Instagram. I appealed this. I didn't really understand what was going on. I couldn't speak to anyone, and I had to leave it in the hands of AI, which... surprise, surprise, they've screwed us because, talking to somebody real, that's apparently, overrated in today's day and age. So it's gone. All the hard work is gone. The time's gone. The money's gone. The connections that we had with players, it's all gone. It's just been taken from us. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, it has really rocked me, especially knowing the amount of time and effort that's gone into it. And it sucks. And I won't bullshit it. It sucks big time. But I will not let this stop the show. So we will now be diversifying and not putting all our eggs in one basket ever again. We're going to be on YouTube and TikTok as Mariners Down Under, and we'll be on X or Twitter, whatever you like to call it, as @Mariners Down Under, and I'll be making an even bigger effort to increase what we put out. We are also adapting our giveaway, and we are adding a huge prize. So you can win this signed Julio Rodriguez jersey, plus you can take home this signed Karoly rookie card simply by following us on all 3 platforms, YouTube and TikTok, Mariners Down Under, and Twitter as @Mariners, DWNUNDR. Once we hit 250 subscribers on all 3 of those platforms, one lucky winner is going to be drawn at random, and you'll take home that bumper prize. And if you follow us on Spotify and subscribe to us and DM me a screenshot, you'll get an extra entry too. So good luck and let's go. Let's give this stuff away. So yeah, I just really appreciate your support in sharing this around. It definitely felt the love when we had the Instagram. Plenty of people were getting around us. I know you love the giveaways. I'm not blind to that. I know we gave away some stuff and people got around us, but yeah, just appreciate everybody's support. And we'll continue to keep the player interviews rolling out over the off-season. We've got some really cool stuff lined up. We're going to be doing a lot of fan interviews, just getting to know people, spreading the word. How did people become Mariners fans? Which will be really exciting. And if you'd like to be part of that, make sure you send me a DM on or comment on whether it be on TikTok, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on Twitter, X, whatever you call it. Please make sure you do that. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get into our interview now with 2025 Mariners draftee Anthony Coroli. Fair warning, I woke up at 3 a.m. to do this interview, so if I look rough in it, and this is a bit of my self-conscious side of putting the video up, is I don't look great at 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm well aware of that, but cut me some slack. But anyway, it was a great interview. He's a great young fella. He's a hell of a ball player. There's not much information out there on him, but if you listen to the interview, he is a committed young bloke. He's got his head screwed on right, and his folks have obviously done a really bloody good job raising him. And I think as Mariners fans, we're going to love him. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into this week's interview. Today's interview features our second guest who was taken in the 2025 MLB draft. He has been described as somebody with interesting movement and shapes to his pitches, so you just know the Mariners are very, very delighted to have him. And from how easy he's been to deal with from my side, I know the fans are going to love him too. Anthony Coroli, welcome, mate, and thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Now, first things first, so you've been hanging out in Florida for a little bit, but now you're in the ACL with the Mariners down in Arizona. I have been to neither place, but I've been told that they're very, very different in their heat. So how are you holding up? Have you melted yet? Are you surviving? What's the go?
Actually, the humidity in Florida is way worse than having to deal with like the straight heat in Arizona. So it's not terrible, since I've had a little experience dealing with the heat, but I wouldn't say it's good either.
Yeah, we're dry heat here. Like we're just coming out of winter now. We're the start of spring. Dry heat, just give me dry heat every day. As soon as you throw in that humidity, you can go and take that where the sun don't shine.
Yep.
So one of my favorite things is being able to speak about under the radar players who don't have much on them that the fans don't know about. Because I guess it allows you to write your own story as well. So who is Anthony Coroli? What do you enjoy getting up to when you're not in baseball mode? How would you describe yourself?
I like I'm a very family-oriented man. Like, I love hanging out with family outside of baseball. I have 2 dogs back home, and me and my girlfriend, we love going to the beach with them, like, basically doing everything we can with them. I'm very simple. I don't like to, not a big going out person. Just, day at the beach is what I do on my off day, mainly.
So on my internet dive of you, your traceable story starts at the Villages High School, and I believe that was down in Florida as well, because to me, if you're doing a postcode, right, I live in Victoria in Australia.
Yep.
So our how to define our state would be VIC. Now, in my mind, if you're doing Florida, wouldn't it be FLO, not FLA? So I'm thinking, oh, goodness me, like, please be in Florida. Please don't make me sound like a goose. So I'm glad we got that straightened out. But before we unpack that part of your story, can you take me back to what your earliest ever memory of baseball was and how you got involved in the sport and how you came to love the sport?
It started off in my backyard. When we first moved to Florida, we had a pretty decent sized backyard, and I kind of remember just telling my dad, like, hey, I want to take some swings. Like, so he would paint a box on our fence, and I would hit off the tee into the fence. And, we went through a lot of wood, rebuilding the fence and everything. But that was the first memory, just, in the backyard, taking some swings, throwing it.
So 2022, that was a big year for both of us, mate. You you graduated high school. I had my first child, so thanks for making me feel really old here.
Yep.
But 2022, it capped off a great high school run for you, mate. You're just the third player to be drafted from your school. You helped lead them to the state semifinals.
Yes.
When you think back about that time in your life, what was high school like for you, and what are some of your favorite memories from that time in your life?
I really wasn't, as serious with baseball as I should have been in high school up until probably my end of junior year, like the summer going into senior year. It was just kind of like something like a hobby of mine, something like I was passionate about, but I didn't like see a future in it, obviously. But a lot of credit to my head coach there, who he pushed me a lot in high school, and because he saw something in myself that I didn't see in myself, and looking back at it now, it was like I'm super grateful for him because, he allowed me to become the player and the person I am today, like responsibility wise, even outside of baseball, like constant motivation, like on me about everything. So I give a lot of credit to him for, my high school experience with baseball.
So high school is a time where I guess we can get sucked into a lot of things, some good, some bad,
Yep.
and some silly. I was very superstitious in high school when it came to sport. I had to wear the same pair of socks
Oh,
every
yeah.
game, stuff like that. So, did you have anything growing up where you had to have a certain meal before the game, or a certain glove that was too small for you, but you had to play with? Was there anything crazy going on that front?
Every game day, I'm Italian and I live in a like very Italian household. So every game day, my dad would cook just straight up pasta, just butter on it, and I had that before every single game, and everybody on the team knew it too. They were like, "Oh, is your dad cooking pasta before the game?" And I was like, "Yep."
So in 2022, that saw you finish with a 1.11 ERA, 43 strikeouts in only 25.1 innings of work. But high school, it doesn't last forever, mate. And college, eventually, it has to come calling. We can't stay young for forever. So you eventually commit to Nova Southeastern.
Yep.
But looking back at that final year, can you talk me through, because we don't have college sports here. What was your college sport experience like when they started reaching out to you? Did you have much interest in hype around you? How many visits did you go on? And then why did you end up selecting where you ended up going?
Um, I actually pitched in a summer ball league my that junior summer, and not a lot of offers. I didn't throw crazy hard. I was only up to 90 throughout my whole high school career, pretty much, and pitched to one of the top ranked summer teams in our little area that we play in, and I actually pitched really well, and NSU happened to be there, and that was one of, I would say, 3 schools that was actually looking at me and gave me an offer. So at the time, I was like, yeah, well, I mean, that's the only thing I got, so we're gonna go there. And then, fast forward to now, it was like one hell of a decision.
So it sure is. I mean, like, it is kind of funny how things work out, right? You
Hmm.
say you're not taking baseball too seriously in high school, and then you end up, being taken in the MLB draft, which is kind of crazy. Geographically, when you think about where you went to school compared to where you grew up or where you went to high school, how far apart are they, and how different is one beach, is one inland? Like,
Yep.
what were the differences?
I mean, I was lucky that I was in the same state, so I could still see family and they could come watch me play. But it's funny because I had no clue at all anything about the school, where it was, and I've lived in Florida my whole life pretty much. So I was like, NSU, I have no clue where that is, and figures it's 15 minutes from the beach in Fort Lauderdale, where the best place to go spring break and tourist, everything, like best place to be in Florida. But yeah, it was crazy because I had no clue where it was.
So freshman year, look, let's call a spade, mate. It's a baptism of fire for
Yep.
you. Game one, you're out there for 2.1 innings. You give up half a dozen hits, and this is the side of the game that I love. This is like I said, a baptism of fire. It's your first shot out there at a higher level of baseball. If I can get you to think back to that moment where you come off after that first game, the 2.1 innings, what were some of the biggest challenges and adjustments that you found out there when you've gone from high school baseball to college baseball? Because I think sometimes us sitting back in a chair, even when we go from, like I look at a guy like Ryan Sloan. We've had Ryan on the podcast, and people go out there expecting him to strike out 15. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
these continue to be new challenges and new jumps. So, what were some of those things that you found?
I would say my first game, obviously, yeah, it was a dumpster fire. Like it did not go as planned. I would say it was just continuing to be confident that, I'm good enough to play at this level. Like I'm not just good in high school. Like it'll transition over. And just the mental side of things was like eating me alive because it was like, oh wow, like, you're not going to get any more opportunities after this. Like it was just a struggle, but then, getting past that and getting a little bit more traction and success with the other outings. Like my freshman year, obviously, was no, cakewalk. Like it wasn't anything pretty, but it was building that confidence for the years to come that, like, hey, I could do this.
You still had some awesome outings though.
Yeah.
Looking through your game logs, there were some games where blokes just clearly could not make contact off
Hmm.
you. You were just striking blokes out; they couldn't see you. So you've had, this season where it's full of ups and downs, but you've got a lot of positives to take out of it.
Yeah.
And most players would take those positives, work in the off season, and then bounce back. But you ended up having an injury that
Yeah.
made you miss your entire second season. Can you walk me through what happened, mate?
Um, about April, end of April, I would say. I was throwing at an away game, season's almost over, and I was dealing with some elbow problems, just trying to get through it, and ended up just completely, I didn't fully tear it at the away game, but I ended up going to the doctor and he was like, "Hey, listen, you're still young. You get the surgery now, you'll be back. You'll have plenty of time. It's not like it's your draft year or anything." So, ended up going through it. One of the toughest things I've had to do in my life, getting through that. And I had a lot of great people around me though, like giving advice, guys that went through it. My trainer that I was working with to get back for that season, the following season, huge help, and ended up breaking my foot right before I was supposed to come back to throw lives. So that was another 3 months sitting out. And, it was just crazy looking back at it, how everything lined up perfectly to put me in the position that, ended up getting me drafted.
Or part of the plan.
Yep.
That's been my thing this year, embracing a higher power, embracing
Yeah,
that it's
absolutely.
all part of the plan
Mhm.
and, things might be an absolute shit show
Oh,
for a
yeah.
period of time, but it's all gonna come through in one way or another.
Mhm.
But last season, you pitched really bloody well. You were lengthened out towards the end and, like, your stuff was nasty, mate. I did the math. In your last 12 innings, you struck out 18, and overall, you just seem to have this habit of having stuff your stuff just plays nicely. Like,
Mhm.
it seems so nasty. So what were some of the things you've gone through the injury, but what were some of the things that you did focus on while you were off, you know, away from the mound to make you a mentally stronger pitcher? Because like I said, last year was just so bloody good. You've obviously put in some hard work.
Yeah. I would say definitely being able to sit back and watch the game from, an outside perspective, just seeing like, hey, what makes somebody good compared to what makes somebody great. And being able, I would sit in the stands and rate our guys, because I wasn't pitching. And I would sit back and look at, hitters' tendencies or like what this guy's doing that's making him great. And I would say mentally, yeah, that was a huge part of like building my confidence, coming back for the next season, knowing that like, hey, I know what I need to do and I'm just going to go out there and do it, and trust in the work that I put in, the rehab, the mental side of things, and just go out there and shove and do whatever I can to be successful.
One thing that has been mentioned about you is your walk rate. And now I've never played baseball. I just love the game. So
Yeah.
I'd love to hear from you as a player. Um, and this is part of what this podcast was you guys sharing your story. Is your walk rate simply a case of your stuff just being so nasty and so high reward but high risk? And as somebody with lethal stuff that moves around and jumps around like yours does, how can you limit your walk rate without selling out your shapes and actions on your pitches?
That's the thing. I have a lot of ride on my fastball, obviously, and I don't live like, I'm not a pitcher that's gonna dot the zone up compared to, I live up in the zone and I'm just gonna let the fastball ride, and that's where I got a lot of my swing and misses and the success with it. But with that, it comes, you know, good hitters aren't gonna chase it if they know it's coming. So that was that contributed a lot to the walk rate, obviously. And, there was just some games where, I didn't have my stuff and little all over the place, but, I had to bear down and make it work. So that's pretty much where the walk rate comes from.
So you're taken by Seattle in the 17th round. We love finding a diamond in the rough. Like
Yep.
that's what we do. So draft day, did you know you were a chance to be drafted, and how much contact did you have with either the Mariners or other teams? Was it kind of, yeah, g'day mate, we're going to draft you next, or were there interviews? What sort of stuff went on in your world?
There was a chance from that I get taken, but there was not a lot of contact, I will say. Like I would say I was talking with the area scout a little bit on the second day, and it was like, hey, just ask me a bunch of questions like what's it gonna take, blah blah blah. And about 10 seconds before they took me, he was like, hey, we're taking you now. And no time to react at all, and my name was called, and we just went ballistic. Like it was the greatest day ever.
So that moment, mate, childhood dream becomes a reality. Who's there to celebrate with you at that moment?
My parents were there and my girlfriend was there, and it was awesome to share the experience with them because those are people that have been by my side, especially my parents, supporting the dream and doing everything, sacrificing so much for me. And, my girlfriend also being there through all my surgeries and everything, taking care of me. So, yeah, it was awesome.
So maybe you're in a reflective state in that moment. Maybe you're reflective later, and you touched on a couple of the people that you were thankful for. But when you got into that emotional state of realizing all of the hard work that's gone into this, not just from you but from other people, who were some folk that you felt really helped you on your way, that maybe they deserve some credit? If it wasn't for their help, maybe
Yeah.
you don't get drafted.
I would definitely say back to my high school coach, played a huge part in getting me the opportunity to play college baseball and just pushing me to that mindset of like, hey, you have a shot, like let's take this seriously. And once I got there, I would say my head coach the actual 2 years, the past 2 years, you know, he he saw something, because everybody didn't know how I was going to come back after the surgery. So, and he gave me all the opportunity in the world and, just kept telling me, hey, like, like, we believe in you. Like, we're going to keep you out there. Like, whatever you need, like, I'll get you the opportunity. And another huge part of the journey would be my my trainer, who was also the pitching coach the year that I had TJ. So I didn't get to work with him, but I went to the same facility that he works at, and he's been such a big help with the strength and conditioning, the pitch design, the mental side of things. Giving me all this advice and telling me like, "Hey, like you're good enough to do this. Like you could do it, and I'm gonna help you every step of the way." So he was just a huge part of it.
So I believe you're working with the heater that you mentioned. That's 94 to 97. You've got a cutter and you've got a slider as well.
Yep.
Have the Mariners pitching lab given you any tweaks so far on these? And what's the coaching been like so far? Or is it simply, hey, we've drafted you, we're going to get you in the system, and we just want to kind of have a bit of a look at you for a while?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's been. I've been actually in rehab doing because I had a little shoulder impingement that we found during the physicals and everything. So we've been getting that handled. I just had my first bullpen Saturday, went really well, but for the most part, it's like, hey, we want you to be yourself. Obviously add like the fourth pitch, like something like a splitter or a change up, but for the most part, it's like, hey, we want to see who you are and we want to see what you could do. So we're just going to go out there and let you be yourself for now.
So there's different kinds of players that we're drafting. Cade Anderson, who is my must-have for the podcast. Colt
Yep.
Emerson was my guy last year. This year it's Cade Anderson.
Yep.
He's finished product, right? He'll be
Yeah.
pitching in the major leagues in 2 years.
Yeah.
But then there's yourself. You're Clay. You've got this incredible skill set that they see so much potential in, that
Mhm.
has flown under the radar, that we're so lucky to get. But I guess you have to be in the right position. There's
Yeah.
no point going to a team that doesn't develop pitching. You might need just that little bit of a tweak, that little bit of a push to get you over the edge. We do that. We've got that proven track record. I mean, we had a guy yesterday pitch in the majors, struck out 13 that nobody
Yeah.
was really looking at out of college as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
So when it was Seattle that called your name, mate, knowing that and I say to everybody that comes on, you only ever have one chance at this, one chance to get
Yeah.
drafted and make it. And it's Seattle that call your name. How relieved were you that you were going to the right situation?
I mean, it all goes back to the area scout. Every single game he was there, sometimes even cheering me on. Like, and I just knew like, hey, this is an organization that, you know, and I've heard about the pitching development, and I was like, there is no better organization for me to be at to set me up for success in the future than the Mariners. So it was a blessing.
So your draft class, flat out amazing. We're all excited. I had Jackson Steensma on 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
There's yourself. There's some really, really high reward kind of guys. You guys have hung out together. You've spent some time together. Who are some of the fellas that you've really bonded with?
Me and Jackson are obviously in rehab together, so we basically see each other every single day. I flew in with a few guys actually, and like I would say Casey, because we were locker buddies. He was taken in the 16th round, sitting right next to each other. He's a great guy. A bunch of the other pitchers, I would say, it was just it's a great group, and a group that's hungry to win and hungry to climb the ranks. So it'll be fun in the future to play with them and everything.
It's it was an interesting draft, and it reminded me of one a few years ago. So this season, we've had guys at the start of the year that were in Everett that have now gone to Arkansas, and we have this elite level bullpen all at this same level that keeps just producing and going up. And it's really, really exciting to watch them. And I think you guys have the exact same potential as well, that there's just going to be this influx of quality arms all at the same time. And yeah, it's going to be really exciting.
Absolutely.
Now you're 6 foot, and in Australia, we would say that you are built like a brick shithouse, which means that you're just athletic as all get up. You know, you've got the height, you've got the size. Can I ask you about strength and conditioning? So, at what point in your life did you decide that you were going to take care of your body the right way with lifting, with food, or is it simply just a case of you're genetically gifted and the reality is as soon as we finish here, you're playing video games and eating KFC? So which one is it, mate? Are you gifted or when did all this physical stuff start for you?
So senior year going into freshman year of college, I was a buck 50 in high school, like soaking wet, like skinny, scrawny kid. I put on 50 pounds going into freshman year, got up to around 200 pounds. And the coaches were like, wow, like we came to recruit you at this little scrawny kid. And now you're like, you put some size on. So, and saw the velo jump up, just the overall like health of my body was better, like feeling much better. And, obviously I couldn't prevent the injury, but that was just from, lack of knowing how to take care of my body properly, like arm care, the recovery, the rehab, the mechanics, everything. Like, but that's something I eventually learned throughout my years there, which, has helped me tremendously.
Has there been a player that you've modeled your game off at any point in your life? Or maybe there's a player that throws a certain pitch a certain way and that's inspired you to, when you were younger, add something to your arsenal?
I wouldn't say I model off of anybody because, everybody's their own pitcher in their own specific ways. But I loved watching Garrett Cole pitch. I'm a big Yankees fan, so watching his like simple mechanics and his fastball, obviously one of the best in the game, plays very well, and his slider too. He was just a fun guy to watch, and like obviously copying his mechanics, nobody's going to be able to do that, but trying to like take things away, like how simple his delivery is instead of like doing all this extra stuff, overcomplicating it.
Now, we must have a bad connection because I thought you said you were a Yankees fan, but that couldn't possibly be true. I said you were a likable guy at the start of the interview. Don't make me have to be a liar. Now, you're really young, mate, and you're
Yeah.
still figuring a lot of life out. But you and your missus, you've been together for a little while now. What's it like for a young draftee who's in a relationship? Like, has she followed you out there? Is she doing her own thing? How are you guys keeping your relationship strong, and how important has her support been along, your journey?
So she's in nursing school actually, so she's still back in Florida. But, she took a trip out here a couple weeks ago and, it was awesome just to show her the area. And, I'm new to the area too, so we were both kinda just figuring stuff out as we went. But, she's been awesome through the support that she's given me. After the surgery, I was like, "Hey, listen, I don't know if I'm ever gonna, like, play again or be the same as when I, you know, came out of it." And, she was always there in my ear telling me, "Hey, you got this. Like, there's nobody better. You're the hardest worker I know." And that support made all the difference because it's like, somebody that you care about so much, supporting you so much. It was like, you know what? I do got this, and I'm confident in myself.
The fact that you're a professional baseball player, has this set in for you yet? Like, you're living everybody's dream, mate.
Yeah, I mean, it is awesome, but there is just so much work to do. And it's like, it's awesome being a professional baseball player, but it's even more awesome saying, "Hey, I'm in the big leagues and I actually play for the Seattle Mariners." Like, and that's the end goal.
Absolutely. One question that I've enjoyed asking a lot of our guests, we've had about 25 players come on, and some people have given an answer. Some have said that they haven't experienced this at all, but we try and humanize you
Yep.
on this show. And, at the end of the day, you're just a person who's good at throwing a baseball. And that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you should be treated rudely or treated roughly or taken advantage of. And sometimes I don't think the fans understand that. Since you've been drafted, has everyone kind of been pretty cool and chilled out, or have there been some people come out of the woodwork that you're like, "Oh, I don't remember us being friends," and they've asked you for something or tried to take advantage? Has there been anything like that, or do you simply just keep a really small circle and that's kind of it?
When I did get drafted, it was obviously a bunch of people that I went to school with, that I played with, all showing love, and that's something that I was really appreciative for. I wouldn't say anybody, came out of the woodwork or was asking me for stuff, but everybody was just showing a lot of love, and I appreciate that a lot from everybody. So it helps. The situation was awesome as it was, but it was even better getting all that love from everybody. So yeah, I wouldn't say anything crazy happened.
That's good for you. We've had some horror stories. We've had
Oh,
one
I bet.
player that said all of a sudden a heap of Bowman cards. Someone got their personal address and Bowman
Oh
cards were just
wow.
showing up. They were asking to be signed, rocking up at their parents' house. And
Yeah.
I don't know, sometimes it's just people just need to chill out. And
Yeah.
it's always
Oh,
grown men.
absolutely.
It's always people like me or older. It's like you just need to chill
Yep.
out. Before we get to our last two questions, mate, when you think about success and baseball together, what's a successful career going to look like for you when it's all said and done? Is it you have to make it to the big leagues, you have to have 1,000 strikeouts, you have to have a $300 million contract? Is that where you're setting the bar? Or for you, is it, you know what, I just want to sit back at the end of the day on my rocking chair and go, I gave it my best shot? What does success look like for you?
I would say similar to that. I wouldn't put any like specific goal limitations of like, hey, I have to get 1,000 strikeouts in the big leagues. I have to sign a $300 million contract. Like, no, because if that doesn't happen, then you're kind of setting yourself up for the rest of your life looking back like, hey, like I set these unrealistic goals. And I would say I want to give my best and work as hard as I can to give myself the best opportunity. And, that's how I've based my whole career so far. Like, hey, I'm not going out here. I need to get drafted. I need to do this. Like, I'm living in the moment and I'm putting in the work for that moment, not for the future. Like, hey, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to do what I have to do every day. And if that gives me an opportunity, we're going to take that opportunity and keep moving forward.
I don't know how there's 10 years between us, mate. You are incredibly mature. That is a very, very mature outlook on life, and not
Yep.
not the way I was looking at life at your age,
Yeah.
that's for sure. Um, our final two questions. This one's a little bit of a fun one that'll get you thinking. Um, I want you to pretend you're having a dinner party and you're inviting four people. Two of them need to be current Mariners players, so current big league players. And the other two people that you bring can be anybody that you want, dead or alive. I will preface this by saying I've only ever had to re-record this segment once because someone forgot to bring their girlfriend. So
Oh
it
God.
caused issues. So I'm just going to put that out there. So 2 current Mariners players, and the other 2 can be anybody that you want, dead or alive. Who's coming to your dinner party?
I would say the 2 Mariners, Logan Gilbert, because he went to Apopka, and that's like literally 30 minutes from where I grew up. So that would be awesome. Brian Wu for sure, just to pick his mind about everything, because similar boat, like he wasn't a sought after prospect out of college, and look at where he's at now. Those 2 for sure. I would definitely want my grandpa there, because he was my biggest fan, like always saying you're gonna make it one day, and it would just be awesome to have him there. And I don't know about my girlfriend, because she's not the biggest baseball fan as it is. So I don't know if she would be too comfortable in that scenario, but I would definitely, I would say my dad too, my dad and my grandpa, just because that would be awesome.
That sounds like a pretty good and pretty relaxed sort of dinner party
Yep.
with all of those people in there. So this is the part where I usually grovel to people. I've got an extra reason to grovel this week because our bloody Instagram was shut down. But who should we have on the podcast as a guest? And keeping in mind whoever you mention, you've got to help us secure the interview. Who should come on?
Out of the draft class?
Out of anybody that you know from the Mariners side of things, but yeah, your draft class would be awesome.
Let me think. I mean, I flew in with Griffin Hughes because he went to Miami, and he's an incredible guy, like super hardworking, a lot of faith in God, like, and I love that about him. And I think he would be an awesome guy to have on this podcast and just pick his mind about everything.
That's the exact answer Jackson Steensman gave us as well.
Yep.
And reached out to Griffin on the podcast page, and he didn't get back to me, which I thought was quite rude. But
we'll get him on here.
that'd be fantastic, mate. But I really want to appreciate you and thank you for your time this morning. It's been fantastic getting to know you. I think that Mariners fans are gonna love getting to know you, and it's just gonna be cool to see you progress individually. And also see you connect with the fans as you get through all the levels of minor league baseball, because everyone's different everywhere, and it's gonna be amazing to watch your growth. So thanks so much for coming on, mate, and all the best with everything.
Yep,
of
absolutely.
course.
Thank you.
See, I told you before the interview, what a cracking young bloke. Like, head screwed on right. Parents have done a great job with him. Coaches have done a great job. And he's obviously done a great job within himself to embrace, everyone's advice and just become a stellar young bloke. Like, yeah, he couldn't do enough for us. He's the only person that's ever beat me on to do the interview. Punctual, very punctual young man. And I'm so excited to see what he does in his career. Definitely going to be supporting him and cheering him on. But thanks for joining us for the first ever video version of Mariners Down Under. Again, Instagram's gone. We're devastated, but the TikTok, the Twitter or the X, and the YouTube is still running. We're going to rebuild them. We've still got our Spotify following. Thank goodness for that. If that had gone, I have no idea what I would have done, in all honesty. But thanks for joining us. And as always, stay safe, stay well, and go Mariners.